Hi class, it's Yosmar, and I'm so excited to be in my kitchen sharing my love for baking. I have here a plate of fresh baked fudgy brownies. Now, who doesn't love brownies? Well, if you're ever in the mood for a sweet treat, why not prepare it yourself? All you need is 5 basic ingredients: chocolate, eggs, butter, sugar, and flour. You will also need just a little bit of salt to enhance the flavor. So, whether you are a stranger to the kitchen or a frequent user, this recipe will give you the confidence to prepare a delicious treat. Let's get started. The first thing that we will do is preheat the oven to 350 degrees. So turn on the oven and we're going to put it to 350 degrees. You can see it there. Perfect. The next thing that we would do is grab our 9x9 inch pans and we are going to spray it with pan all the way around. As you can see, all the sides. Don't be nervous, it's okay. And we're not just gonna leave it like this. This is a little tip and a little trick that I learned along the way. So for us who are lazy and just want a quick cleanup, we are going to line the pan after you coat it with the pan spray with parchment paper. You're just going to press it down against the bottom and it's going to kind of absorb the spray, but it's not going to soak it as to seep through it. So it's going to be a little wrinkly, but it's okay, and you could just leave it like that, and then you're going to set this to the side. Our next step is to take a pot and put the water to boil at a medium heat, and you're going to put a stainless steel heat resistant bowl on top of it as to not touch the water. Now in here you are going to pour bittersweet chocolate, and that's about 6 ounces. And you are going to put 1 stick of butter with the chocolate, and we are going to melt this together. We are going to mix it until it's completely melted. Now we'll show you in just a bit how it's going to look. Now that we waited a little bit, we can actually see how the butter and the chocolate are melting together, and we're just going to keep this going until the butter has completely dissolved into the chocolate. Once that has happened, we are going to carefully remove it from the heat. So this looks about done. Now we are going to stop mixing it, and we are going to turn off the flame and grab this pot holder and move it away from the pot. Now, as you can see, there is condensation on the bottom of the bowl. Now, before we actually place this bowl down, we are going to wipe that as to not let any of the water go into the chocolate, because that will actually make the chocolate seize, which is not a good thing. Our next step, now that we remove the chocolate and the butter mixture away from the heat, would be to add the sugar. Now we are adding 1.5 cups of granulated sugar to this. Now as we carefully pour this, we're going to pour it in a light stream, and we are going to whisk as we are pouring this. So we're going to slowly pour it and whisk at the same time, so you can see what I'm doing. And keep mixing here and whisking. And what the sugar is actually doing is cooling off the chocolate a little bit, getting it ready for the egg. when we pour the egg inside. I'll keep putting that inside, and we'll get back to this. So hopefully you're still with me and your mixture looks something like mine. Let me give a little close up, something like mine. And our next step would be to add the egg. Now, for this recipe, since we're making the fudgy brownies, we are going to add 3 eggs. Now, the trick to the egg is that we add 1 at a time until each one is completely combined with the chocolate. So we added the 1 egg, as you can see that the yolk. And we're going to mix this until we no longer see it. Once that happens, then I know I am ready for the next egg. And you know what's so great about this recipe? As you can see, I started with 1 bowl and I'm still on that 1 bowl. So again, for those of us who don't like to clean up too much, like myself, this is a perfect recipe because we're not making a big mess. We've only dirtied 1 bowl so far. And it's an awesome recipe, right? So the second one is gone, and now we're adding the last one. And I will be right back with you while I finish mixing this up. Now that we've added the egg and we completely mixed it into the chocolate, you can no longer see it. Now we are ready to add a little extra more chocolate. Now, for this we are adding cocoa powder. Now this powder is Dutch process. Now preferably this is the one that's called for this recipe because Dutch cocoa gives it that dark color. Now if you get natural cocoa, you can use that. The only difference is that it's gonna give it a lighter reddish chocolate color instead of that dark chocolate brown color that cocoa, that the Dutch process gives it. So you're just gonna mix that all in until it's all combined. And once we completely finish mixing this and get all the sides, we are going to add our last ingredient. Now for our last ingredient, we are going to switch from the whisk, which is very important, into the silicone spatula, which is this one. And we are going to add the 1/2 cup plus the 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. I'm gonna add that there, and you could just pour it in. And the difference between this mixture with the other ones when we were mixing with the whisk is that we're going to fold. We're going to do a fold all the way around. So you're going to spin this and fold it in. Fold it in until all the white goes away. And so you see no more of the flour. And while this is happening, remember that we already put the oven to preheat, so that's already ready for us. And we also got our 9 by 9 inch pan ready. We pre-sprayed it with the Pam spray. Now with the Pam spray, some people ask, do you use olive oil? Do you use butter? Do you use coconut oil? What do you use? Well, for me, I prefer to use the coconut oil. But other people use olive oil, which is fine. You can use canola oil, the butter, whatever your preference is, it's okay. So this is almost done. And once this is done, we are all ready to go. And we are going to pour it into our pan and pop it into the oven for about 35 to 40 minutes. And just wait for it to bake. So once you're done with the folding, this is what your mixture should look like. Now let's pour it into our pan. So here we have the pan that we had already prepared, and we are just going to pour the batter into the pan. Just gonna try to let it fall naturally as to not fold it more. Just it'll all come out from the sides, and once we put it all to the sides, we're going to spread it over the top so it kind of be layered evenly. I'm gonna set this to the side while we do that. Spread this evenly. And by now, you should already smell the chocolate. Your kitchen should be warm from the oven, preheating. And once you pop this into the oven, your tummy is going to start grumbling, your mouth is going to start watering, and you're going to have all these aromas of chocolate and warmth all over your kitchen. So we're done preparing it, and now this is ready to go into the oven. So I just placed it in the oven on the top rack, and I am going to close this, and I will put the timer for 35 minutes. Start. And then we will check in 35 minutes. We're going to put a toothpick in the center, see if it's ready. If not, we'll put it back for another 5 minutes. So see you in about 35 minutes. Now that we set the brownies to bake, we're going to take this opportunity and clean up the mess that we made. Now, it's not a big mess, but we still have to clean it up. Because according to Dr. Charles Gerba, also known as Dr. Germ, he states that the kitchen is actually dirtier than the bathroom. So let me tidy up and I'll see you in a bit. So after about 35 to 40 minutes, I took the brownies out the oven, and this is the end result. Now I am waiting a few minutes, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes, for it to cool down so then I can cut them into one inch by 1 inch square pieces. I enjoyed doing this video with you, and I hope that you guys all learn how to make brownies and to have the courage to make it at home. And if you guys do, don't hesitate to send me pictures of your result. Thank you so much and enjoy!